Hey, Danielle.
Hello.
And hey, you. Thanks for joining us. This is our realtor version of Putting the Real in Real Estate. And today we're talking about that's not how it works. And by the
Well,
way, Danielle and I were having a conversation after last week's session, and she said, I hope, I hope we don't sound too preachy sometimes when we talk about the way things ought to be. And I was like, you know what? That's just us. So um, hopefully you enjoy
it
what we
is totally me. And that's ironic because I forgot I said that. And as we were hopping on this, I'm like, this should be fast because I'm going to be honest. People need to be part of the MLS or they suck.
exactly.
That's all I got to say about that. I'm Forrest Gump today.
In our other in our public one, I clipped a snip from lab coats where somebody said, I'm just weighing the cost of the MLS. What did he say? How did he say it?
It was something about well, they're no longer members of the NAR and they're not part of the MLS now and wondering where they could promote their business or their listings now that they don't
Yeah,
have access to that. And is
right.
it worthwhile to just be a member of the MLS?
Yeah. So, everybody loves to get out their soapbox and talk about how they're going to save a few $100. And Danielle and I, you know, both think that there's plenty that NAR can work on, just like any
And
organization.
all the and even further down, all the local and there's room for improvement everywhere. It's not
Absolutely.
perfect.
But things don't, in most of my experience, get improved from without. So people who are members need to jump in and say, I'm going to take my share of this load and I'm going to make my little corner of the MLS better. And I'm gonna, I just had an agent who had a sign in front of a house for 4 days and it's not in the MLS. What the hell are you doing? How, you know that she sells a lot of property. You know that's not okay. You know that's against the rules. Why are you breaking the rules? Now I have to go think about whether I'm going to report you or not.
And do you feel bad enough? And do you feel like a horrible person trying to get somebody in trouble? And da 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 da. But we have these rules in place and things we do as part of NAR and the code of ethics and all that other stuff to do what's best for our clients. What's best
And
for our clients is not
the
spending
fact
four
is that
days
it would
trying to
put
get
my
your
buyers
own
at a
new
disadvantage if
buyers.
I had them and couldn't get to see the details on that house, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. So
So
I compared not having the MLS to, I couldn't be too specific because I wasn't even sure if I was Facebook friends with him anymore. So that's why I didn't want to. But there was literally a guy in my neighborhood for a couple of years back who was trying to have a landscaping business without actually owning a lawnmower, trimmers, anything that actually is necessary in the lawn care business, and like wanted to like go to people's houses, charge top dollar, and then use their equipment.
yeah, yeah, that's pretty much
That's how I
what
felt
these
like
agents
it.
are doing. They're like, can I use your yard to just put a sign up because I ain't got nothing else,
Yeah.
right? Be like if a roofer showed up and said, "Do you have any shingles?"
I mean, does it, that just seems so, it's like me say, you had mentioned something about putting that I feel like it's putting your house in the um, newspaper
Right.
by saying that you don't have and you're refusing to pay for the online portal that literally spits out to thousands of websites, which we know like only a handful are looked at. But you know what I'm saying? Like thousands of places where people, and we know the numbers. It's 95, 96, 97% of people start their search on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's just the same thing we always talk about with FISBOs. You're exposing to a very small sector of the market. And if you expose your home sale to 5 people and one of them actually wants to buy it, well, you might be able to get lucky and make a deal. But if you expose it to 50,000 people, you're much more likely to not only find one person who wants to buy it, but many people who want to buy it, which drives the price up, which increases the competition on the other side, and which gets you for sure the best price for your property.
Yeah, I started out saying you need the tools of the trade, and that's that, to me.
Yeah.
This is a ridiculous conversation.
Yeah.
Not that we're bringing it up, but that other people are like caught off guard. What should I do? I don't know what I should do. Well, maybe you should have thought of that.
Yeah. Before you decided to save a couple $100.
Yes.
So again, you've got a roofer who shows up without a hammer. Good luck, charging 20 grand for that roof, right?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe the people suing us are right, and this will lower costs because no one who's doing that crap will actually be able to charge a decent amount for their services, because their services will not result in a happy outcome for sellers.
You know how many times I've heard a buyer tell me over these years, I found this house on Facebook Marketplace. Never.
Right. Exactly.
Never.
Exactly.
So anyway, MLS.
And the fourth time they say I drove by and I saw a sign in front of a house and I say it's under contract, they stop looking at the sign.
Yeah, yes.
So the other thing we were talking about
or you
was
called a roofer.
What?
Or you called a roofer.
Right.
Or some other, a lawn care service.
Exactly.
Something that has a sign in there that really isn't for sale.
I hate that. I'm like, ooh.
I know. It's like, ooh, this house is for sale. I wonder. Oh, no.
Getting their kitchen remodeled. So the other thing we talked about was divorce. And I'm sure you've all been in the same situation where somebody calls you and they say, I'm getting divorced. It's usually an emotional, difficult situation, even if it's something that, was a long time coming or is relatively amicable. I mean, there's just not a good happy side of it, at least not for a while. So we have to be part of one of the most difficult pieces of that process and often help them sell the house or help them value it so one person can buy the other one out.
And there's always, at that point, let's be honest, that's some of people's lowest points, right? Where they don't trust. There's no trust. There's hurt. There's anger. So the emotions are going all the time. So it's really hard for sellers in those situations to constantly be like, okay, thinking clearly, making clear judgments. So really we have to do, and they're always questioning, are you sure? And whose side are you on? And all that stuff.
And if one spouse calls you, the other spouse is like, well,
why don't you tell me why what are they
doing?
Her
realtor or his realtor. And so Danielle and I, a long time ago, I think I actually stole this from someone else, but I know I did. I don't know who, but someone suggested the idea of I am not on either side. I represent the house. My job is getting the house sold for the most money in the least amount of time, like it always is. And who's right and who's wrong and all the other stuff is irrelevant as long as I focus on my job representing the house. And that's how we best represent our clients in a really difficult situation.
And I'm going to be honest here. This is also patting ourselves on the back, but I think that is part of the reason it's so good that we have a tendency to use data. Yeah. So agents out there really need to know how to not manipulate, because that makes it seem like but like read data and figure out the data points and come with facts. It's kind of like, it's almost like you're double ending a deal, right?
Right.
Everybody the same information. You say the same thing to both people. You say, this is what I'm seeing. Here's the data. Here's the statistics. Here's whatever. And make your decision. I'm not going to tell you if you should take it or not, or I'm not going to tell this. Make your decision.
Exactly. And whenever possible, keep all conversation with all parties involved. So
Yeah,
they're
and
not, nobody's feeling like there's side conversations going on, that side deals are being made, that they're being cut out of anything. That just breeds more contempt and makes the whole process more difficult on everyone involved.
every text message has two people on it,
Even
or
if you
whatever.
know absolutely that she is a big jerk and, you know, did him wrong, or he is just a loser and she's better off without him, keep those opinions to yourself until it's over and just focus on the house.
Absolutely. Because that's what we're there for. We've got to be a trusted advisor.
Yeah.
And just like the attorneys, you know, they're doing their best for each client. We've got to do what's best for the one asset.
Also, bringing up attorneys, make sure that they have spoken to both of their attorneys and they understand all of the repercussions of selling at the specific point in their divorce that they're selling. So sometimes it's going to be better for them to do it before they divorce, after they divorce, whatever that is an attorney question. Even if it's, you know, messing with your goals for the quarter, or the market's not going to be as good. You know, you can give them that information, but sometimes there's huge repercussions for selling a house at the wrong time in a divorce. So we want to make sure that we protect them all around and include their divorce attorneys in the conversation.
All right. So next week we have our market reports.
Yes, and if you are doing them, get yours out. This is a great time to be giving people information. Again, as Danielle pointed out, using data, answering their questions with real answers. You don't need to get, you know, super into the weeds with it or anything. Just show them a few numbers. Show them that they're safe. Show them that the market's not crashing. All of those things. So see you next week.
All right.